Football might not be coming home, but the non-league season is well and truly back with us, and I'm delighted to say that Walton Casuals manager Anthony Gale and our new regular pundits Frank Wilson and Jim Cooper join us in the studio tonight. Here's what's coming up on the show. We start today in the National League South and a fascinating battle between Hampton and Richmond Borough and Bath City. It's match day 3 in National League football this season, and it's 1 point from their first 2 games for the home side, Hampton and Richmond Borough. As for Bath City, they're struggling. They're yet to get off the mark this season, and they'll be hoping to put that right this afternoon. Plenty of ex-Hendon players in Gary McCann's Hampton and Richmond Borough, but they've also recruited elsewhere with the experience of Craig Dundas up front. As for Bath City, Sean Rigg, the ex-AFC Wimbledon and Newport County player, brings experience to their side. Long ball high upfield to chase. Should be well away. It's not. It's a error, and they might be allowed in here, Bath, and they may well be in and pulled back. Surely going to be a free kick. It was a foul on Adam Mann. No complaints from the home sides. Easy decision for the referee in the early stages of this game, and it will be a talking to for Casey McLaren. Chance for Bath to put some early pressure on the Hampton goal. In it goes. Could well be an opportunity, and it almost fell to the feet of Jack Batten. Good defending just to nick that ball away from him. Again, it's the visitors that come forward. Another opportunity to get the ball into the box. It's lovely play, really neat football, and then the opportunity just to dick the ball over the keeper. It fell to Watkins. Delightful play from Bath in the early stages of this game. Lovely one-touch football, just needed to dick the ball over the keeper. You have to say, Lovelock did well there. Again, plenty of room to move, and it's a good chance for Watkins to have a run at the Hampton defence, but they'll bring the ball away. Williamson almost got the ball stuck under his feet there. Long ball over the top, and maybe the first opportunity for the home side. Goes for goal, and it wasn't too far away. Chris Dixon, who had the shot. McLaren played him in. Lovely ball over the top of the defence. And Dixon hit it on the half volley. A little bit unfortunate there. Again, the ball over the top causing problems, and Dixon might get on the end of this. He does. Goes for goal. Just goes across the 6-yard box, and there was no one there for Hampton. And again, it was the run of Dixon causing problems. Just settled into this game in the last 15 minutes of Hampton. And Bath just need to compose himself after a really good start, and they've not done well there. And now it's going to be an opportunity for Joseph to go through. Looks for the dink over the keeper. Real good opportunity again for Hampton. Poor play from the visitors, giving the ball away so cheaply, and it's been the way the game's gone in the last 10 minutes, and it was Joseph that was through. Real opportunity, went for the dink, and again it wasn't far off. And Bath City have had more than one warning so far in this game. Ever so close from Joseph. Lovely feet on that far side that's going to force the corner. Plenty forward for Bath. And it goes to the box all the way across. Might go to the back post, and really ambitious and difficult effort to get the ball in from there from John Mills. Again, the ball will fall to Zach Joseph, who's been impressive in this first half. Lovely run from Joseph, and gets away from his man as well. He's into the box. What can he do? Joseph on his right foot, looks to take on another couple of defenders, still bouncing around. And it's still with Hampton, although the momentum has most definitely gone. Again, it's flicked on, and This time Bath do initially deal with it a little bit better, but it's going to be played back in, and they really are struggling to get the ball away, Bath City. And again, that's a woeful ball. It'll come all the way across, and it was a brilliant save in the end. Hit so well from Joseph, who'd found himself on the opposite side. Again, really poor defending. They just couldn't get the ball away. Fell to Joseph, low and hard. And that's a superb save from Ryan Clark to keep his side in the game. Again, it's the visitors trying to make their way up the pitch, and again, it's Hampton that intercept, and so fluent when they get the ball back, Hampton, and it's over the top towards Dixon, who might be in on goal now. Dixon, what can he do? Again, he looks for the lob over the keeper, and much like Zach Joseph's effort, just goes high over the bar, but that was a real opportunity and a better opportunity there for Dixon. He probably feels he should have done a lot better, and he certainly should have put his side in front. He just cannot get to grips with this game, and again the ball's over the top. Another opportunity for Hampton. Great save once more from Ryan Clark, still bouncing around in the box, and eventually they will clear it. This time it fell to Williamson, and you have to say Hampton should be in front in this game. 3 or 4 clear-cut chances to go in front. Far too close to the keeper, but you have to say good save from Clark nonetheless. And Williamson, the latest player to miss a chance for Hampton. I'm sure Bath would have had a good talking to at half-time, and they want to get themselves into this game. They've really not been in the contest so far. Maybe an opportunity, good defending, and should get it away. It's going to fall to the edge of the box, and it's a long-range effort that sails over the bar. Really difficult angle for Morton. Lovely ball in there. Chance for Hampton. Great save, and it was Wellard that found himself in the box. Lovely ball in. Stayed on side. Keeper came out, and he's done well on more than one occasion, Ryan Clark, in this game to keep his side level scores. Another corner for Hampton. Again, it goes in, and it's well wide this time from the header. Certainly up in the shots on goal. Not all on target, but there's been a fair few shots from the home side today. Again, it's sloppy play, and again it lets in Zach Joseph running into the box. Real danger here for Bath City. Joseph goes all the way across, and I'm not sure if he was looking for the bottom corner or to try and find Dixon, who was coming in on the 6-yard area, ever so close to both. And the danger man all game, Joseph, just plays the ball across, probably looking for that bottom corner, inches away from Dixon. Bath come forward. Can they turn the tide in a game they've been dominated by the home side? Opportunities to get it in, does get it in, goes all the way across, almost on the far post, and the Hampton players looking towards the linesman, but they stood still and watched the ball float all the way across the 6-yard box. Very fortunate that it didn't just find the head of Watkins there. Another ball high in towards the box. Another opportunity. Great block, last-ditch block from the Bath City defenders. Neat turn there from Morton, who lays the ball inside. High up towards that far side. Maybe a chance to get the ball in. Chance for a header. Wonderful save from the keeper, Lovelock. Real opportunity. And it was Batten who rose to the header. In fact, it was Watkins who was in the box with a header. Superb trajectory on that to almost get it over Lovelock. In comes the corner, and Hampton do defend it. Still not all the way out, and it's going to be picked up by Stern. Turns it back into the box again. Hampton trying to get it away, and it will fall to Rigg. What can he do? Rigg on the edge of the box. Lovely little step over from Rigg. Hits it on his left foot. Wonderful goal from Rigg. Superb effort. And Bath City take the lead. And you have to say, Hampton have had all the chances in this game, but it is the visitors who take the lead. And it was a superb strike. They couldn't quite clear the ball, Hampton. It fell to Rigg. Little step over on his left foot and drove the ball into the bottom corner. No chance for Lovelock. What a way to take the lead in this game. If Bath were going to take the lead, you did feel it was going to take something special, and that certainly was it. No chance for the keeper, right in the corner. 1-0 to the visitors. If they don't get themselves back into this game, Hampton will be kicking themselves for all the opportunities that they've missed. Can they create another before time's up? Lovely turn on the far side. Can they get it into the box? Twisting and turn, did really well there. Left-footed, in it goes. Maybe a chance to Joseph. Brilliant save from the keeper. Every time Ryan Clark has been asked to step up, he's done so. Joseph just thought he'd steered that ball into the bottom corner, much to the agony of the Hampton winger. He saw Clark just tip the ball round the post to keep his side in the lead. Roberts this time picks up the ball and drives his team forward. Again, it falls to the feet of Joseph. Lovely play from Hampton on the edge of the box. It's McLaren who picks it up now, goes all the way to the far side. Can they get one last good delivery into the box? In it does come towards the far post. It's flicked down, and again it's Clark who just grabs the ball. And that's the final opportunity for Hampton. So we have plenty for Anthony Gale to get his teeth into tonight, including the game between Walton Casuals and Basingstoke Town from the weekend. It's a very good evening to our new regular pundits on the show, Jim Cooper and Frank Wilson. Nice to have you here, guys.
Nice to be back, Ben. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, very pleased to be involved, thank you.
Let's get straight into the action then. And it was a fascinating game between Hampton and Richmond Borough, of course, doing ever so well last year, lost their manager to Woking. Gary McCann's come in. He's had a step up. Many of the players have had a step up as well, Jim.
Yeah, obviously Alan took an opportunity to go to a different club, which meant that an opportunity came for Gary to come into the club as the new manager of Hampton and Richmond. He's brought quite a few players with him from Hendon, who, as I say, in their own right, last year were very unlucky not to get promoted into the National South by their own rights. He's brought in, I think, about 7, maybe 8 players from Hendon into the squad, and it'll take them time, I suppose, to bed in.
And a bit like the game, we were very impressed with Hampton and Richmond, and we'll come on to that in a moment. We're very impressed with Zach Joseph, and we're going to take a look at him now. Again, the step up for a player that promised so much during the game, but perhaps that final part of his play wasn't quite there.
It wasn't on Saturday, but Zach last year was an exciting player. As you see there, he's got a good vision. As soon as he gets the ball, he looks up. He's looking for opportunities to pass the ball into the danger areas or to pick players out. He's always looking up now, and he's looking for people to join in. And last year, he had players that are coming into, and joining him in the box and putting the ball away. But Saturday he'd be disappointed with his final distribution. He can play on the left and he can play on the right-hand side of the midfield. As we can see here, I think they're just swapping him over to the other side, naturally onto his right foot. He's straight away. He's looking up, looking for some support. You see Dundas making a late run into the box there, and he beats the man effortlessly. But like I say, on Saturday, his final ball in the box wasn't quite as good as what he normally is.
And to make that step up to National South, it naturally will take players time to adjust to that league.
Yeah, of course it will. But he's got all the attributes to do so. I mentioned about him looking up and putting balls into the danger area. Last year he had Nico Muir, and he forged a good relationship with him, and they scored plenty of goals between them. And as soon as Dixon becomes aware of what he can perform and what he can do, I'm sure that he'll create a lot of chances for Hampton.
And Frank, for Bath City, didn't concede a goal during the game, looked very much for most of the game that they were going to concede, and somehow managed to ride their luck, or is that not giving them enough credit?
I think it might be a bit of both, Ben, to be honest. I think that you've got to give credit to any defence, really, if they don't concede during a game, whether it's fortune or whether or not it's good luck on the day. I was quite impressed with Bath City. Obviously, first time I've watched them play, and I was impressed with their back line. One thing they did quite well, I thought, during the game, and the clips are showing now, is that they kept the Hampton forwards in front of them at all times, or they tried to keep midfielders and forwards in front of them at all times, just so that they could see sort of in front of them defensive areas, and they kept the resolute line, led well by the captain, Straker, who played left back for them. I thought he had an excellent game. And you could just see that they look like a team that have got good relationships between them in the back line, and I think that constitutes as to why they kept a clean sheet on the day. And not to mention, I thought the goalkeeper was outstanding.
However much we praise that back line, there were so many missed opportunities for Hampton, and I think Gary McCann and the players will really be kicking themselves until they play again.
Yeah, as I understand it, I think in the first few games that Hampton have actually played in the 3 games so far, they've missed many chances in the games. It will come. Dixon, Dundas and Zach Joseph, who we mentioned, will score goals, and there's no doubt about it that Gary will turn it round. I think Gary himself is saying that they've actually got to turn the chance they're creating into goals. It's quite easy to see as from that effort as well from there, but I've got no doubt that if they're creating enough chances, the goals will come.
And from a team, Anthony, who didn't put any of their many chances away, to a team who had very few during the game, but it was a hell of an effort to win the game.
I mean, what an absolutely fabulous strike. I mean, when that secondary ball's come out to Sean Rigg, the ability to step over the ball with the quality that he did and come inside on his left foot and stay over the ball, the quality of the technique was superb. You see so many balls go over the bar or go wide, but the actual quality to keep that ball down, stay over it and strike through it, that venomously with that quality was absolutely superb. I mean, to look at that goal though from a defensive perspective and critique it, if you're looking at Corcoran, who obviously has come from Hendon last season. I don't want to go too heavily into the defensive perspective, but the speed of his approach to the ball, he got out to the ball, but then to show him on the inside onto his left foot to get a strike off at goal, I think if it's his manager there, would be saying, look, show him on the outside, because at least then you could defend that ball from across. I mean, you can't, obviously, from a managerial perspective, if you're looking at that, you've got to question his defending, because you got to be showing him down the line, but not taking anything away from that strike. That was absolutely superb. Brilliant. Superb.
Frank, they'll feel pretty aggrieved, as we said. It's a very early stage in the season. It's one of those stages in the season that we say we don't look at league tables, and I'm sure managers don't really pay a lot of attention until we're about 10 games in. But still, would it be worrying for you having made that amount of chances and not converting them?
No, I don't think it would. I think that first games in any division, especially for Gary and his players coming into the step above this season, I think that it's just going to be a case of getting a few nerves up maybe, and Jim alluded to it earlier. I think that relationships need to be forged and formed, and that's what's important and critical to taking chances and putting teams away. I think the big positive from Gary's perspective is how many chances they created. I think it would have been a bit more of a concern had they had less chances, because then Gary would have been thinking to himself, 3 games in, if we're not creating, then that's going to be a real struggle for us this season. So plenty of positives, I think, still to take from that.
And we mentioned that we wouldn't show and pay too much attention to the league tables, but we are going to show them now in the National South, with Woking sitting top after 4 games that they've played with 10 points. Billericay as well, worth noting, they've just been promoted up in second position. And down at the bottom, Weston-super-Mare, Hungerford Town and East Thurrock United, who I'm sure will thank me for mentioning them just 3 games in at the bottom of the table. Next, we turn our attention to the Bostik leagues and a fascinating tie in the Bostik Premier Division between Folkestone Invicta and Enfield Town, both tipped to do well this season.
That's good pick up there from Dre Cotton. He plays the ball short, reaches the feet of McCann. What can McCann do here? He's got to take it past the defender, can shoot from here. What a finish that is from McCann! Brilliant finish there, and Folkestone Invicta open the scoring here. Brilliant goal there from Kieran McCann. Had composure to go around the defender, and a wonderful shot to beat Joe Wright in the goal, and Folkestone Invicta take the lead here. Now what can Enfield do here with this opportunity? Is with the feet of Matthew Johnson. He gets tackled there. Rash challenge on Johnson. And what can they do from this free kick? And it's going to be Lewis Taft to deliver the ball in. And it's reached the head and it's gone in! And Enfield equalise! And it looks like it's come off the head of Nathaniel Blanks. A very, very unfortunate own goal. But Enfield will take this. And they're back into the game, and it's 1-1 here. Hassler with the free kick. Reaches Youssef. 2-1 to Folkestone. And Adi Youssef gets his account up and running for the season. But he might have paid a terrible cost at that. He looks injured from that. Hassler with a great delivery in. Youssef managed to bring the ball down and poke it past Joe Wright in the Enfield Town goal. But it looks like he's caused himself some damage with that effort, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. Taken short by Enfield, and they will try and get back into this game. Folkestone still reeling the loss of Youssef, and a good shot from outside the area, and that's well saved there from Tim Roberts. Roberts kicked it out, and it goes underneath the Folkestone player. It reaches Brandon Adams. He's only been on for a few minutes. What can he do with this? Oh, he can only go and equalise! Brandon Adams has only been on for 5 minutes, and he's brought the scores back up level once again. Adams goes past his man and shoots superbly past Tim Roberts in the Folkestone Invicta goal. What a time to come on and score. It's 2-2 here in Kent. And Folkestone Invicta get this game back underway. And how can they cope with this? As it reaches on the far side, it reaches Alfie Paxman. And it's taken away once again. Can Enfield add another twist to the tail in this game? They win it back. Drive the ball forward. It reaches the path here. And Newman needs to deliver with this, and he can't do. Youngs with the ball over the top, off the crossbar, and Adams makes it 3-2 to Enfield. And it's shocking defending from the home side. Adams gets a brace in a very short space of time. But you have to give Enfield Town credit here from the move. Made it from the back. Great play on this near side wing, but questions really need to be asked of Matthew Newman. A dink over the keeper, unlucky not to convert from that effort, but Adams was there in the right place at the right time, and it's 3-2 to Enfield. Now can they take advantage of this lead here as Enfield look to take this game away, and oh, that's awful defending again, and very, very unlucky from Brandon Adams there to get his third of the game and a hat-trick. But it's not over yet here as they need to clear their lines, and that's a awkward free kick there outside the edge of the area. And Folkestone will look at this as a golden opportunity to at least grab a point. Oh, that's sloppy play from the Enfield defence. And it looks to me like it's going to be Kieran McCann, but it's not. It's drilled in, hits the wall, and drilled in and hits the wall again, and it's still not taken away. And McCann will try and cross the ball in. Last chance saloon for Folkestone. Cleared out. And there goes the full-time whistle. Enfield Town claim a superb win in Kent. And Folkestone Invicta go away without a point.
A fascinating game, and you'd have been pleased if you were in the crowd. You'd have definitely thought you'd have got your money's worth. Was it good attacking play, or do we have to look a little bit more at the two defences when you get a game that has 5 goals on the opening day of the season?
I think both, Ben. I think both. An exciting game, difficult place to go. I think Enfield would have looked at that fixture at the start of the season and thought very difficult to draw Folkestone away. Not an easy place to go on the road at any point of the season, but for the amount of goals in the game, I think that we've got to compliment forwards for the goals that they scored, but I think we've also got to look a little bit into defences and see how the goals were scored and if they could have done a bit better.
And Jim, 2 teams that will fancy themselves this season, 2 teams certainly with Enfield that have spent some money and brought players in. A very attacking display. Does that show the intentions of both teams on the opening day?
Well, last year Folkestone scored many goals last year. Neil likes to centre and focus on attacking options. Some great signings from Andy Lease at Enfield this year. Billy Bricknell being one who was actually on the bench on Saturday. Brandon Adams, who scored 2 goals, ex-QPR, was on Staines on loan with them and scored a few goals down there as well. So I think with that and Matt Johnson coming in to shore up their midfield areas, I think both sides will, as you said, Ben, be there or thereabouts come the end of the season.
And for both managers, pleased that they can get in amongst the goals.
I think you can look at the pros and the cons of that. I'm obviously scoring 3 goals. It's the same as our game when you see a 3-3 against Basingstoke. You're delighted that you got 3 on the sheet, but at the same time, defensively, you're looking at that with an element of concern, conceding 3 goals. Whether the manner and how they were conceded is still 3 on the sheet, and that has to be addressed, I think, from both sides. Conceded 3 games, exactly like we're addressing and critiquing our players this week for conceding 3. But at the same time, on the flip side, in the final third, great to score 3 in any game.
And one final point to mention is Brandon Adams, who's been brought in. He's obviously got experience at higher levels and already making a difference.
I think the element with having young players in your side and that have had experience playing professional football at QPR, and then obviously going on loan at Staines last year and coming into Enfield, the ability to go off both flanks, play in off the line, play wide, it gives you that fear factor to the opposition. I think it's so important to have that ability, and with those players to play with no fear, and I think Brandon will do that throughout the year, and that's definitely a positive for Enfield.
And one thing that wasn't in the highlights that we must show you before we move on is Joe Wright's effort of, I'm not really sure what this is. Is this playing as a sweeper keeper? I think this is taking it to new levels. Goalkeepers in the Premiership take note. That's you like your keepers to play a little bit like that, don't you, Anthony?
I think everyone knows of our philosophy. We like to take risks, and also the crowd like to see it. I think so many managers in that type of scenario, I would say, put your foot through it. But I think now in the modern day, you look at Pep, what he did with Joe Hart the season before that, when he loaned him out, and it is a modern day requirement now that players and goalkeepers can use their feet, and especially ourselves being on a 3G surface, it's a must. So for me, I applaud him with his decision there.
Certainly, I'm sure the crowd at Folkestone enjoyed that moment in the game. There were plenty of other goals across the Bostik leagues this weekend. Some real crackers there on the first day of the season across the Bostik leagues. Any guesses to how many goals were in the Bostik Premier Division on the opening weekend?
I mean, I guess 21.
You've done your research, I bet.
No, it's more than that. I think about 27, 28.
40 goals in the Bostik
I was
Premier
about
Division.
to say 40 before you said that.
40 goals across the Bostik Premier Division this weekend. 3 goals where you were. You went to see AFC Hornchurch, Leatherhead, Jim, and AFC Hornchurch, having just come up, they were made one of the favourites for the division. I think there are a few eyebrows raised when that was put out a couple of weeks ago, but certainly looked the part against Leatherhead.
Yeah, without a doubt, they are the bookies' favourites, and they showed that on Saturday. First 15 minutes against Leatherhead, I think it was a case of we've been promoted to the Premier League, let's have a look and see what other teams got to offer, and then after that it was all one-way traffic. Leatherhead, a little bit disappointing, they didn't offer a lot in front of goal, but the Hornchurch defence, as they were last year, I think they only conceded 32 goals all last year, were absolutely magnificent, and then going forward they took their chances well, and I can see them doing very, very well.
4 goals for Whitehawk as well, Frank. They're a team that have come down. You always look at the teams that perhaps have come down to see what kind of reaction you get from the players.
Yeah, and a fantastic reaction, Ben, in terms of the opening day result. I think that from a little bit of research and seeing the form guide towards the end of the season last year, Whitehawk finished the season quite strongly. And speaking to a few managers in the summer, I think that the sort of general consensus was that Whitehawk would be a strong contender this year, and to start as emphatically as they did shows that they're going to be a strong side and also a good contender for the division, I think.
And we have to mention Margate as well. They scored 5 at home to Corinthian Casuals in a really convincing first half.
I think the 5 goals in the first half, you've got to applaud them. Obviously it's unfortunate for Corinthian Casuals coming up like ourselves into a division, whether it was the right way to come up or not. They got promotion. James has done a very good job down there, and that's a big reality check for Corinthian Casuals. Obviously, first game of the season to concede 5 and to score 2 late goals. But I'm sure knowing James, like ourselves, getting to understand the level, know the level, they'll only get better. He'll only get better, and I'm sure the same scenario will occur with ourselves.
Next up, we turn our attention to the Evo-Stik League, and we give the opportunity for Jim and Frank to critique Anthony's Walton Casuals as they took on Basingstoke Town.
Go easy, boys.
It's Walton Casuals that kick this game off, first game of the season, and Walton Casuals recently promoted to the Premier Division up against a Basingstoke side much fancied to go on and get promotion from this league. And it's Walton with the early throw over on the far side. They'll be looking for a good start to their league campaign. It's always a bit of an unknown when you've been promoted. Really impressive performances from a very young Walton team last season. It's going to be a long throw into the box. In it goes to the Basingstoke box. They need to deal with this. It goes all the way over. It's still bouncing around. It'll fall to Bamba! And it's in! What a wonderful start for Walton. 1-0 inside the first minute. And you can see the delight and all the players and coaching staff. It was a long throw into the box. It really should have been dealt with by Basingstoke. It's a poor header, and it fell to the left foot of Bamba. Did so well to keep that down and driven home into the bottom corner. Fantastic start for the home side. And it's Walton that come away again, and they might be in here once more into the box. What can they do? All the way across to Bamba. Really should have made it 2. That will go down as a really bad miss. Ball across to the 6-yard box. It was easier than the chance he converted in the first minute of the game. High ball up again, won by Walton in the midfield. It's been really good from both sides in these early stages, and Basingstoke find themselves in for the first time in the game. Can they get themselves back into the game? In the box they go, brought down, referee, no hesitation, points to the spot. It did look as though he was caught in the box. It was a good driving run. Defender came across, no real complaints from those Walton players, and the referee, no hesitation, and it is a chance to make it 1 apiece. Brilliant save from Gerard. Low to his right-hand side. It was a decent penalty. Good height for the keeper, though. Nevertheless, good save. George Bennett steps up. No, it's not going to be Bennett, but it's going to be driven home, and it's the equaliser. They all thought it was going to be the left foot of Bennett. It wasn't. And it was Dean Stowe that stepped up, right-footed, into the bottom corner. It's one apiece. Again, Walton try and play their way out. This is what they did for all of last season, and sometimes can make mistakes, and they've made one here, and Basingstoke perhaps have another opportunity to put pressure on this Walton goal. And it goes to the box. It's headed away. No, right into the path of the forward. It's down at the feet, scrambling in that box, still bouncing around. Can Walton get it away? They do, to the edge of the box. It's going to be driven in, left-footed, and it's in! It's the second goal of the game for Basingstoke. They couldn't get it away, and it just fell to the edge of the box. They thought they'd managed to clear it, but it was Sam Deadfield, left-footed. Such a scrap inside that box. It fell to Deadfield. First time, left foot, bottom corner. You have to question, perhaps, Gerrard not saving that, but it did look to go just outside his outstretched arm. Walton with a corner, and it comes headed. Goal! 2 apiece! Wonderful header from the corner. And it's Joe Hicks in the 53rd minute who gets Walton back on level terms. Really powerful header. It went all the way across the 6-yard box, and Hicks made no mistake. Again, it's Basingstoke who intercept and come forward. Looked like he was going to just take a shape to shoot, and eventually the shot will come in, and Gerrard just tips it round the post. It was a low driving shot towards that far corner. Again, Basingstoke come forward, and again they're prepared to just run at this Walton defence. Jinks inside on the right foot. Another brilliant save from Gerrard. Just tips the ball over the bar. Really good save from the keeper. Top draw that. Once more, Basingstoke really getting into this game. Another opportunity perhaps to cross this ball. In it comes, left-footed, all the way across. Goal for Basingstoke. They do get the third. And this time, it's a mistake from Gerrard. The ball came in. The keeper came to collect. He was never going to get there. And it was headed home by Callum Bunting. 82 minutes gone, and Basingstoke leads. Can Walton get themselves back into a game? For much of it, they looked in control of. Lovely ball in to the feet on the edge of the box. Really nice passing, as they have done for most of the game. It's flicked into that Basingstoke box. Needs to get rid of it, and they do. Just managed to head the ball out, but it's going to fall to a Walton player. That's really well won back. What can they do? In it goes to the box. Plenty of bodies in there. Goes all the way across. Scrambling. It's in! They've equalised! And it's the 90th minute, and they have got themselves back into this game. Basingstoke couldn't deal with it, and it was scrambled in on the line. And you have to say, it's exactly what they deserve from this match. All the way across, Basingstoke couldn't clear, and it was put in on the line by Joe Hicks. Remarkable game, and it's finished here. Walton Casuals 3, Basingstoke Town 3. So this is the part of the show that Jim and Frank have very much been looking forward to all night, and you get to critique Anthony Gale's Walton Casuals. Jim, it was a fascinating game, 3 apiece, some really good football. Where did it go right and wrong for both teams?
Well, it went right by them both scoring 3 goals. Where it went wrong, and I'm going to be fairly critical for both sides in that defensively at times I think they left themselves a little bit too open, tried to play a little bit too much football at times, and I may be an old style manager, but you know, clearing your lines when you have to, and just basic defending. There was some errors certainly at the back for Walton Casuals where they got punished, and I'm sure Anthony has highlighted that to his players after the game, and will work on that in training. But you know, I think 3-3 for Walton Casuals, an opening game of the season, is a very, very good result against a strong Basingstoke side.
We must mention the style of football as well. We've picked out a few clips from this game, Frank, and they're all very similar, both teams played out from the back. Both teams were prepared to pass the ball in areas that perhaps you wouldn't usually see. And we have to give great credit for that.
Yeah, we do. And obviously, it's I was going to say this young man, but you're older than me, aren't you? Sat next to me, you know, it's a coaching philosophy for Anthony and his team, and it's been the blueprint for them and the way that they've always played. I think that the artificial surface helps both teams as well. I think that's always something that encourages teams to try and get the ball down and play, and it's a good thing. You know, we're highlighting it for good reasons and good purposes. But similar to what Jim just said there, I think that for all the positives that you can make about the good footballing, the good styles, you know, passes of play, building up from the back through midfield, playing through the thirds. Again, it can be its own undoing in terms of trying to overplay at times and trying to encourage, you know, the next pass when maybe it should have been a better decision. And we saw that throughout this game in terms of the types of goals that were scored and the defensive scenarios that, quite frankly, just could have been better. That's all, just could have been better.
You've had the opportunity to sit and listen to what these guys have got to say, and there's no doubt we showed those clips there of some of the fluent passing that happened for both the home and away team. But you must be pleased with the way that your team have continued to play, having that step up to the Premier Division. It's
an extremely young side again. Frank was right in the fact that I do adhere to the philosophy and the way we want to play, and it is our blueprint that we like to try and play out, be brave from the back. And I think with the energy we've got and the young kids that we've got, I think it's important to show that bravery, and also on the side show that there's no panic. I think the one thing that we do like to do is allow them to express themselves. At so many other clubs within non-league, they're told to play a certain way, and if there's danger, get rid of it, and the decision's taken out of their hands. I very much trust the players. I trust their decisions, I trust our process, and I trust the direction that we're going in. I mean, it took probably 50 minutes to get used to the division, and I think if you look from 52 onwards, we very much dominate the game of football, and that shows young players understanding of the game, the tempo. Everything was a yard quicker, everyone was a little bit stronger. One thing I did notice was Basingstoke's ability. There was a lot better ball strikers on the football pitch. I think the higher up the levels you get, the more technical quality you get. I think there'd be chances last year, and if you look at the chances that were scored at both ends, I mean, we were wasteful. They weren't so wasteful in the respect of, I mean, our goalie saved the penalty. He made a fabulous save, but one thing I noticed was all their shots were on target, so the quality of ball striking was very high. You look at our chances, quite a few of them went over, went wide, but as I said, it's a group that is learning, that will learn, and I genuinely believe will get better and better. But to draw 3-3 in a game that most people generally thought would get beat comfortably, I was extremely proud of the players. I mean, you look at them and you look at Weymouth this year. There's me and Jim were talking before, because obviously he's still got strong links at Met Police, where he's done such a magnificent job over the years, Jim, and it must have been so hard to leave. But you look at them, they got a young side. It's a very unpredictable division now in the direction that it's going to lead, but I very much envisage Weymouth and Basingstoke being right up there.
Not going to talk about the move to the division. Much was talked about that during the summer, but now you're here. You mentioned those two sides, but when you look at the league, there are a lot of teams to get to grips with, and much has been talked about the travelling, but perhaps the away trips on a Tuesday night and different things like that will come into play as the season goes along.
I generally believe that. I mean, we played Malden and Tiptree last year in the FA Cup, and unfortunately got well beaten over there by a very good Kevin Horlock team, very good ex-pro. They were very well organised, but the journey and the travelling distance played such a major impact in that, because it was something that we weren't used to. And there's been things put in place. The club have been working ever so hard to put the right transportation in place, where obviously they've had to invest money and they've had to find the money in coaches and making sure our players are comfortable in the process getting to games. Also making sure they're hydrated, the right foods are going in their body. I think that the days are gone of them stopping at a service station and now having a bag of chips. It's gone. You know, and it's you know, we're looking at all those types of things off the pitch in order just to try and put them in the right frame of mind, and also make sure their bodies are getting the right maintenance, and it's giving them every chance.
We'll certainly watch it with interest as your team progresses in the Premier Division. So much talked about this evening, so many goals that we've seen, but there a few standout things for each of you from the opening weekend of the Bostik and Evo-Stik season, and of course we're 3 games into the National South season. For me, the result of the weekend for me was Brighton Senior Region winning away at Kingstonian. Much fancied Kingstonians, to be fair, and like Anthony said, in relation to his result, I don't think many people gave them much hope of winning that game. So to go away from home opening day and win 3-2 was a magnificent result. And I just want very quickly to say how well and very pleased that the Met Police won away at Dorchester 1-0. It's the first time they've won in 14 occasions on a 3G/4G surface, and maybe that's the change in the manager, who knows.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some fantastic games tonight, Ben, but I think that one game that caught my particular attention was Cole Shorten's win away at Lewis. I was particularly impressed with that win. I thought that the competitiveness that they both shared last season and how close that league was in the end, I thought that was a real psychological battle for a game, and I was impressed with their win.
And for you, Anthony, it was a standout performer.
Lucas Rodriguez for Whitehawk. I mean, winning 4-2. I think a lot of the industry, a lot of the good play actually went through him. And I mean, not just his quality on the ball, but his movement off it created them so much. I mean, and I think I'm sure Whitehawk won't be pleased with me saying this, but you would very much envisage him being a player that will be on everyone's list, not at that level, but I'd go as far to say league level. I was so impressed with his dynamics when he had the ball, his use of the ball. You see so many wide players now get into those positions, and we were talking about industry earlier, giving strikers opportunity. You see balls going over the bar or going wide, but his technique to find a pass or create something, I thought was different class.
So much for us to look forward to over the coming weeks. And don't forget, if your team haven't been included in the show tonight, you can get your goals to us. All you need to do is send them to goals@botn.tv. We put it on the screen for you now. You can send them across to us at the weekend, and we'll get them onto the show on a Monday night. So much more to look forward to. A big thank you to Anthony Gale for coming on. We wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll see you back on this very cramped sofa tonight. You've done very well, very snug this evening. And
same
of course,
for the 2 boys to my left, that's why.
Big thank you as well to Jim Cooper and Frank Wilson, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks ever so much for joining us on the first non-league show of the season. Plenty more action coming your way next time. We didn't get to use the Subbuteo, but you'd have probably moved every piece on the board, wouldn't you? I'll move the iPad for you. Let me move it.
They'll be wider. We'd have him dropping in between the 2 centre halves, the 11 and 7 higher on the fullbacks. But just don't ask me to flick it, because we'll probably miss the target.
Jim, are you a Subbuteo player?
No, I am a Subbuteo player because I'm the oldest one here, and that's what I played all my life, basically. Yeah. No, I wouldn't have pushed that wide player too far because I haven't kicked off yet. So
I'd have had Jim's.